Why don't we talk about a real head coach that actually matters, guys? And maybe
right.
Brandon Staley, right?
Heck yeah, baby. The Church of
All
Staley
right,
right
so
here.
hey
Yeah.
Kyle, let's do a poll right now. Let's do a poll. Let's do a poll
All right,
right out of
yeah.
the gate.
All right.
Do we think Brandon Staley will win MVP or excuse me, Coach of the Year next year?
Okay. All right. I'll set that up in a second.
And I will say this, I actually really do think he will. In fact, I know I talked to you guys about some of the bets I'm throwing down in Vegas. One is going to be that Brandon Staley is going to win Coach of the Year next year. And I'll tell you why. Here's my general thesis. And I wanted to do, maybe I'll do a longer short video on this maybe this week. But look, he is kind of the hot coach, right? Everyone is mimicking what he's doing on the defensive side of the ball. And they're taking people away from his coaching staff that he's taught. And so the NFL is really paying attention to what he is. And bottom line, NFL is a copycat league. They're already trying to do what they're doing on the defensive side at the Rams already. So I just think there's a lot of great eyes on him. If we at least get to the AFC Championship game this year, I think there's still, let's say we don't get to the Super Bowl, he still could win Coach of the Year because of his hypeness and just the way he has transformed this team. And improve this team and made this team better. So that's just my thoughts. What are you guys' thoughts? And what are you guys' thoughts in the chat? Am I way off? What are you thinking? And would you like me to do a deeper, wider video on that maybe this week?
Yeah, may as well. Let's do it. Yeah.
It's such an interesting thing about. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Go for it.
Yeah. Why not? I mean, you're already talking about doing it. Just do it, man. It's like, hey, hey. You don't need to ask for permission. You know what I'm saying? This ain't grade school. Like, hey, I need to go to the bathroom, teacher.
Can I use the restroom, teacher, please?
I need to go potty. Yeah.
Permission slip over here. Yeah, got it.
Need a hall pass, bro? Come on now.
Yeah, no hall pass. No hall pass.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about it is, man, Brandon Staley. So it's interesting because Cody Benjamin of CBS Sports basically ranked him 17th out of 32 head coaches in the league. And, I think that's somewhat fair. And it's really kind of like you think he ended last season at 9-8. So you think, hey, middle of the pack kind of situation. But, I was watching some of the older games from last year, 2021. And, the thing about it is like, we were maybe a game away from basically taking the AFC West.
Absolutely.
We really were. Yeah.
And it wasn't like that far off, and we didn't have nearly as much talent as we have now. So, there's a lot of people, and I know there's some of my friends that are, fans of the Broncos or, let's say Steelers, Bears, whatever. They're like, yeah, it's kind of gnarly that Brandon Staley's making these calls at fourth down and everything. Well, I think Brandon Staley just knew his defense, and he knew, hey, man, like, I'm not saying I don't have confidence in you, but at the same side, I'm going to keep the ball in my number one player's hands.
Yep. And that's Justin Herbert.
That's Justin Herbert. Keep it in Herbert's hands. And forever and ever and ever, I'll always put a reference back to that Raiders game.
Right.
I mean, the amount of throws, 4th and 21, throwing the ball for a laser to touchdown.
Yep.
Like, all these passes that are like incredible, and giving him the ability to do something like that and having the confidence in that, players love seeing that. And I think that's why we have such a talented team now, because they think this coach believes in us and wants us to do, and he'll put the game on us. And it's pretty phenomenal. I think that Staley is going to be only better this year. And
I think so. Well, and he also has a defense, right, that could stop people. And he has a special teams, right? That's completely stacked. I knocked over my mic here. And so it's one of those things where he has everything around him to do everything he needs to do as a head coach, right? I think you're right. I think he kept thinking, well, do I want to let my defense get out there? Well, we need to get the offense going. So go get it, guys, right? Get your heads going the right way and make it happen. So he, there was a couple times I remember he even talked about going on fourth down. He's like, look, I got to get our offense moving. We were not moving correctly at all. Yeah. So he got aggressive to let them know, hey guys, get your head in the games. Let's make this happen. And I like that. He's forcing them to improve their game. Yeah. And that's what a good head coach does. Kyle, I didn't mean to talk over you there.
I was just gonna, say that. Yeah, it was just crazy because he was like, it's like, it was honestly like, that was such a strange call to me, like, or to us as like, you know, fans were like, what? We're like, you know, in like what actually it's called the green zone over here, like, you know, like
Yeah.
and freaking, and we're just going for it on 4th down, even though we're like, this is a really, you should punt this ball situation.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's like, okay, let's do this, and like, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's really wild to me that he did that. And hey, the big ball Staley, you know, like, I mean, we got to freaking make things happen like that. And like, if that's what he felt like he needed to do as a head coach, let's freaking go, man. Like,
well, we still got to make that shirt too, Kyle. We got to get that shirt, Big Ball Staley.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, maybe that's a side project you need to work on this weekend. Make that happen.
Yeah. I definitely got a bunch of shirt ideas that I need to just kind of like work on and stuff like that. Maybe,
dude.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Blockbuster boys, dude, with the defensive line, dude. Heads of the defensive line, dude. How sick would that shirt be, dude?
Absolutely.
I think it'd be fantastic.
Get
Blockbuster boys.
Yeah, they're all like the defensive, you know, like the front 7 is going to be like, you know, in Blockbuster Video, like, you know, putting, you know, things up in there, putting the tapes in the shelves. It's like, yeah.
Oh, it'd be fantastic. It'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, though, and I know in the chat they were chatting a little bit about Brandon Staley. It's like, he has everything to gain this year, and he has everything he wants as a coach. And, you know, the thing about it is, like, year one as a head coach is like figuring out who you want on the team. And you got to think the Raiders have a new head coach. The Broncos have a new head coach. They're in their first year trying to figure out who fits their system.
Yeah.
So there's a side to me where I'm like, there's a lot of hype behind those teams, but at the same side, dude, they're still first year coaches for that team.
Yep.
They still have to figure it out, dude. Like, and so I don't really think they'll do well. They'll do well. I hope the Raiders don't do well because I like seeing them at the bottom.
Yes.
The toilet bowl,
FDR, baby.
The toilet bowl. I want them going nowhere.
Dragged up and down that field, man. It's like, you know, like, that's right. They need to be horizontal the entire time, you know.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Agreed. But, you know, the thing about it is with Brandon Staley, you know, Pro Football Focus ranked them as the Chargers as the 3rd overall roster in the league. I mean,
which is huge.
And
awesome. Once again, paper team, but we have tons of talent, and that really bodes well for Brandon Staley. That bodes well for Herbert. That's why there's this talk of Brandon Staley being coach of the year. That's why there's this MVP talk for Herbert. That's why there's a lot of hype behind the Chargers, because we have a solid team. So there's no reason. There's no reason. I think Herb just threw out, says bolt up, don't punt. Hey, I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm in.
That's right.
Let's go.
I like that.
Let's go. And I think that would be a fantastic shirt of bolt up, don't punt. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Like, I'm good. I'm good with that. But I don't know. I think Brandon Staley's in a great position.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, and you know, and maybe one last thought on this as well too, right? I think we did maybe talk about this, but I think people are saying he's number 17th out of 32 head coaches.
Right.
Personally, I think he's much higher than that. But again, he hasn't proven anything at this point, right? I think you got to first make it to the playoffs and really show that you're a dominant team, right? Again, there were so many games last year that we just lost because we couldn't score as many points as the other team.
Right.
I mean, it was a shootout every game. I mean, we saw every game last year. Every game was a damn shootout. It was like, why couldn't our defense stop anything? You know, we were, so frustrating.
Yeah,
but it made games exciting. But
agreed.
Yeah. But I think if we start blowing out teams dominantly, then I think Brandon Staley will continue moving up that list. And if we make it to the AFC Championship game, which, guys, by the way, we do not make it to the AFC Championship game, this season is a huge disappointment.
Yeah.
I mean, huge disappointment.
Right.
I mean, if we don't make it to the Super Bowl, it's a disappointment. You know,
I think Brandon Staley minimum is he needs to win the AFC West.
Yes.
And that's one of his minimum
I think that's
bars.
Yeah, that's the minimum bar for sure. You know, and I'll say this though too. My answer kind of goes into what Aether was saying, and I know Herb did have a question as well.
Okay.
But the reason why I think Brandon Staley will win Coach of the Year in 2022 is if he flips the script on the defense. If we have a successful, literally bottom 5 to top 5 defense, then 1,000% we're gonna win. He's gonna win Coach of the Year on that, because I mean, on paper, we are the best defensive team, like team as a whole unit, in the league. You know, like hands down. I mean, there are people say, "Oh, like the best secondaries." It's like somewhere else, whatever. The best front line somewhere else, like. But as a whole, as a unit,
yep,
our team is the most stacked and ready to go out of everything. And so, if he can make this happen, then yeah, 100%. Like if we're going from bottom 5 to top 5, we are 1000% going to win Coach of the Year. And to his question itself, he was asking if what was more likely to happen first, a top 5 defense or is it top 5 offense, or no, top 1 offense? We already were.
I would say top 5 defense.
I would say top 5 defense, 1000%.
Yes.
Yeah, because
100%.
Because we were already a top 5 offense. And honestly, like that's all we need. We don't need a top in the number 1 offense at all. But hey, I mean, if we can make that happen, that'd be great. Like if maybe Isaiah Spiller or Austin Eckler has an LT type year, and then Justin Herbert has his repeat year from last year. Dude, what is that? Like 40 points a game at that point? Who's going to be able to? We don't even need. We don't need a top 5 defense at that point, baby. We just freaking blow them out of the water every single game.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Right, even if you get one takeaway, one takeaway in a game can make all the difference, right? And I think it's exactly why Brandon Staley wants to go 5-1-5 is what we're thinking he's going to do.
Yeah.
That brings me to my one of my other points about Brandon Staley winning head coach there. And I think I brought this up on my short video that I talked about with Kyle Van Noy last week, that I really think Brandon Staley is going to use Kyle Van Noy and the team that he has now in a very creative way this next year. I really think we're going to see some interesting exotic packages of defense, right? Yep. I know we're talking about 5-1-5, but I do think there's going to be a lot more. The whole playbook of the defensive side of the ball is going to be more open because we finally have personnel that could really run his defense that he has in his mind, right? So I think that's going to be a constant change this season.
Yeah.
So again, I've always said this, I just said this earlier, that the NFL is a copycat league. People are going to copycat whoever is successful out there.
Yeah.
And if Brandon Staley comes out and shows some crazy blitzes and crazy like exotic packages, the high 5 defense that we're talking about, he's a lock for Coach of the Year at that point because he's changing the game. He's evolving the game, and that goes a long way in the NFL, in my opinion. So, like Eric Coryell you're talking about, we talked about earlier and all this and that, right? People that can change and move the game forward get a lot of recognition in the NFL. So that's my take on it.
Absolutely.
And just the last point about how I love Brandon Staley. He's always thinking like a coach. And, him and his wife were out in Europe for the first time, and he went to the Wimbledon, and he was like, the reason why I came here is because I want to be at Wimbledon, but 2, I also wanted to see the top athletes of the world and how they prepare to be able to play their game at the top level or highest point of their career.
Yeah.
And how they prepare. And that's a thing. Like he always, even to say some of those videos, the behind the scene videos that the Chargers do and everything, he does a lot of like talk about like NBA championship team, like the Warriors, and how they prepare as a team. And what they do as a team and what kind of packages they end up doing or how do they put themselves in successful situations. He wants to see all sports and how they work together and how he could basically bring that to his team, kind of having that championship mindset and how to prepare his players to be more championship ready. And I think he's just a stud as a coach. He's always coaching and he always wants to be better and he always wants to be able to have and I think the reason why that Chargers brought him in was because they wanted to change the culture. Yeah. And this is year 2 of Brandon Staley. And I think, to be honest, if he hasn't already changed the culture right now, I don't know what the next level of culture change would be because he's brought in key top level players to this team.
Absolutely.
And I really feel, once again, last season, we went 9-8. We were 1 game away. We were 1 second away from tying a game to go in the playoffs first year. 1 game away from potentially putting us into an AFC West championship. So there's the thing, like he was so close last year with less talent. This year, the talent is so much higher.
Right. So much higher.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. We're only a couple of weeks away. Like,
I had a dream about the Chargers, man.
We have
it's just
about
crazy.
9 Sundays left until football returns.
I
Woo!
I like
9 Sundays.
I like saying it that way better because it sounds so much closer.